Hi friends, it is Millie with Millie's Vines. Happy February. Today I want to do a video talking about beginner-friendly houseplants, but houseplants that are not like super commonly talked about. So I know there's a lot of plants that are mentioned like Cebu Blue or Pothos or like Philodendron Brazil, and all of these plants are excellent for beginner-friendly plants, but I wanted to showcase plants that maybe aren't talked about as much or maybe are a little bit harder to find, like kind of a little bit more unique. So I also wanted to talk about plants that I have in my collection. So I've got 10 plants today that I want to talk about, and I hope that it is enjoyable for you. I will break down these in categories because I think sometimes easy care is different for each plant person. So some of these plants have super low watering needs, but they have really high light requirements. Others are more thirsty plants. There's just like certain criteria, and if that fits well in your regimen, then definitely go for it. I will say this is kind of like a side tangent that I didn't expect to go on, but you have to kind of learn how you are as a plant parent. For me, I'm super hands off, so I really don't want to like helicopter my plants at this point in the game. I used to be like very on that, like checking every 3 days, every 2 days, every 1 day. I'm just not doing that anymore. So a lot of these plants I've learned if they have higher watering, I'm obviously looking at them a little bit more. But for the majority, I really like plants that are kind of like independent and they can just take a little bit of neglect. So that's how I am as a plant parent. If you are someone who is more active and you really want to like nurture plants and you have a little bit more time to spend with them like throughout the week, then I will list plants that might be a better fit for you there. Basically, I'm going to break it down by watering needs, lighting needs, and then just overall like ease of care. So hopefully that helps. If you guys have other plants that I did not mention in this video that you think are super beginner friendly, definitely add those in below in the comments. I probably will do a video on like intermediate plants as well, because I've got a lot that I wanted to showcase, but if I'm honest with myself, they're probably not great for beginners because I do struggle with them myself. But we're gonna start here. So let me know what you guys think. If you have not subscribed, I would love for you to do so. I'm so happy that I am finally like a YouTube creator. That has been a big goal for me for like 3 years. So subscribe, follow along. One thing that's really helpful, I feel like, when you make content is ideas. If you guys have ideas that you would like for me to film, that other creators film, like plant-wise, that you guys love, let me know and I can see what I can do. But I would love to post twice a month, maybe work my way up to once a week. We will see. And I think that's it. Thank you guys so much, and let's get into the video. First plant on the list that I have been dying to talk about are Rhipsalises. So this might be a bold one to start off with. I know that this is not everyone's cup of tea. I am so obsessed with Rhipsalis. I actually cannot express my love for them enough. I will showcase some pictures of like more mature specimens that are just a little bit bigger in size and more impressive, but when these things get big and they're in like a hanging basket, they're absolutely insane to me. Also, a lot of Rhipsalis bloom. This guy is really thirsty, so I do apologize, but they get really pretty flowers typically in the spring, I think. They also are a jungle cactus, so you don't have to water them too much. They do require super high lighting, not a lot of water, very drought tolerant. They just need a lot of light, and outside of that, I mean, you're pretty much golden. I have another one outside that I'll show you that's a different variety. If I can find the exact name of this guy, I will put it below, but I love Rhipsalis, and they're a really good hands-off, like easy plant if you don't want to have to be monitoring a plant all the time. This would be a great one. This is my other Rhipsalis. I've had this one a little bit longer. He is outside. I'm not sure. I'm like debating if I should keep him inside or outside. I really can't decide. I just thought being outside would help with blooms a little bit more. I love Rhipsalis. I can't get over them. There is someone that I have recently subscribed to. I think her YouTube name is My Petite Garden. I will put her account here below so you guys can check her out, but she has the coolest collection. I love the way she does her videos, and also her Rhipsalises are actually insane. So I have been wanting to talk about them ever since I have seen her videos, but Rhipsalis, I wanted to start it off with these. I love them if you're into jungly vibes and things that need a lot of light but not too much water. and are very drought resistant. This is definitely something you should add to your collection. I don't think that they're talked about enough, and I think they're so interesting and unique, and I have quite a few different varieties on my wish list. So yeah, Rhipsalis, number 1 on the list. Okay, number 2 on my list I have here, this is my Peruvian apple cactus. Now, before you guys come for me talking about adulation, I am well aware that this guy is pretty skinny at the top. To be honest though, I feel like he's a vibe. I feel like he is like a Dr. Seuss vibe, and I'm just going with it at this point. It doesn't seem like it is in horrible condition, and it keeps growing for me. Has it bloomed? Absolutely not. But I mainly just want to talk about Peruvian apple cactuses or cacti, because they are so easy. They are so easy. They are so vocal. When the sky is thirsty, which it is still like winter, it's Arizona, I've got a shade cloth, it's super cold here at night. The base of this guy will get really wrinkly. They are so vocal when they need water. It is so easy. You can just tell by looking at it when it is thirsty. I love that in a plant. And I also think with terracotta, or even in like a gray, like light gray concrete pot, they are gorgeous. Gorgeous. They also don't have spines, which I really like. That's like a nice switch up for my outdoor plants. They are wonderful. Now, retrospectively, I would recommend blasting this one with light, but the thing when it comes to living in Arizona is we don't really have the luxury of just like sticking it outside in direct sun because it'll scorch. So it's like, I don't know, the lighting here in Arizona is really tricky for me, so I do what I can, but I personally love how this guy looks. He's weird, he's funky, and they're so easy. When I originally got this plant, it quite literally was up to like here, I think, and I've only had it for like 6 months. So please don't hate on my Peruvian apple cactus. I love her, I love him. I don't know what gender he would prefer, but very cute. Have to recommend this. To go along with Peruvian apple cacti, oh my gosh. I also love Euphorbia. So I'm gonna grab a couple that we can talk about there as well. This one might be controversial, and I understand, but this is my Euphorbia white ghost. Dare I say that this is my, I don't want to say that, my monkey tail is probably my most favorite outdoor specimen that I have right now. My white ghost there is right up there. This plant is stunning. Now, are they easy to care for? For me, I would say yes. I think it depends on the specimen that you have, and it depends on how well established the root system is. I had 3 branches of this when I first got it. 2 of them died off. I think they actually overheated. It wasn't even a sun thing. I think they literally got too hot. It was like 117 and it quite literally melted. So I am down to 1/3 of the plant. However, this guy has shot off growth ever since then. All of this is new growth. There's so many little baby arms and they're so cute and it's so easy. So if you don't know about Euphorbia, they are more succulent-like than they are cacti, basically meaning that they have a little bit higher water needs and usually can't take as much direct sunlight, especially something like a white ghost. It would burn, but also since it doesn't have a ton of irrigation, it still needs a decent amount of light. So with that being said, I feel as though Euphorbia are pretty easy. They are more forgiving when it comes to overwatering, but they're still forgiving enough if you don't water them right when they need water. So these are really good. Lots of light, not too much direct light. I also have another variety that maybe isn't as tricky. A lot of people struggle with these, either just like not growing or rotting. I would say that's probably because of the lack of irrigation, so this probably isn't the best one to show, but I have one more I can bring on. This guy. This is a super easy one. I think this is, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. I have not filmed in a long enough time and I'm just losing all of my information, but this is a Euphorbia. I think it's like a Rubicans, I don't know, it's like a ruby variety or something. Very easy. It has little leaves and those are kind of like its little balloons and it's so cute. I've chopped this one up recently. It's adorable. I don't have to water it too much. Lots of light, very easy. If it starts to grow leggy, give it more light, chop it off. I had to do that actually. My camera is moderately annoying and won't focus, but you can see I chopped it right here and I have 2 little baby arms that are coming. These are so easy. I fear that a lot of people don't get into outdoor or like more cacti succulents because they think they're hard. And I'm here to tell you, unless it's like an actual succulent, like an Echeveria or something like that, they're not hard. Euphorbia are not hard. If anything, you have to give them lots of light, more neglect, and just don't care for them as much. Just like let them be. So, love Euphorbia, and that is number three on the list. Next we have my ficus, my little bonsai. Now this guy needs a haircut. However, I do not prune in the winter months. I just don't. I just let this plant be. Bonsai were so intimidating for me when I first started. I probably got this like a year and a half into my plant journey. I'm now on year 4, but this guy has been so forgiving, so tolerant. It's so easy. The worst thing that's ever happened to me with this guy is I had mealybugs one time, and I also burnt it. I put it in direct sun. It did not like that, but I would recommend if you guys get any type of bonsai starting out with a ficus. I don't think this is a ginseng. I'm gonna have to refresh my memory. I'm not the best with bonsais, but this one in particular is so easy. I tried to get a juniper, would not recommend that. That thing died so quick, and I don't know if I will be going back on that journey, but this little ficus is so easy. In the summer months, I water this ideally once a day. Worst case, every other day. I would say right now in the winter and like fall months, I have been watering it maybe like every 3 days. It definitely is overdue for a repot. I have no idea how to do that, but I will get to that a little bit later. So if you want something a little bit more unique, that's more hands-on, this guy would require a ton of light, not necessarily direct unless you live somewhere where the sun isn't as aggressive as Arizona. It does have high watering needs though. So like I said, in the summer, expect to water this guy every day or every other day, especially if it's outdoors. If it is indoors, which I don't think that would be the best fit, but you could have it right by a window. I've heard that they kind of like the wind blowing and like airflow and stuff like that. So you maybe could place this by a windowsill, but I would say this is best for like a patio situation, pull back, and yeah, high watering needs, high light needs, but still really, really easy and just a different vibe than the rest of my plants. Okay, next on my list is my monkey tail cactus. I actually cannot even express how shook I am that I have this in my collection, and I've had it since October of last year. This has been such a dream plant for me. I love it. It is probably the most satisfying to touch in my collection. It's so soft, it's gorgeous, and it has already grown a ton for me. Now I will say with the monkey tail cactus, these guys probably need to be outside. Once it does get hot, I think like above probably 90 degrees, I don't think they're gonna thrive, so I will have to figure something out. Once it comes summertime, they also don't want to get super cold, so I believe these are from native to Bolivia or something like that. I don't know, I'll have to double check my information there, but more of a tropical plant. They like warmer temperatures. I have probably watered this thing monthly since I got it, so I'm definitely not overdoing it. You can just tell it is so thick and there's so much water that's held within the actual I don't know what to call these. Within the plant itself, there's so much water that's stored. So monthly watering, I have found too, when the rocks are on top, it definitely holds onto water a little bit longer. So I've had to learn to be careful about that. So this would be a good plant for beginners if you've got really high lighting and you are able to not overwater a plant. And if anything, let it dry out a little bit too much before watering. If you don't think that that sounds like your vibe, then I probably wouldn't recommend this one, but it's so easy. If something happens, if you happen to knock off a branch or you want to propagate something, you quite literally can cut it, let it callus for probably 3-4 days, maybe put a rooting hormone, pop it back into the soil, or start a new plant. So it is great. It has gorgeous blooms in the, I want to say sometimes late fall, but also spring. Fantastic plant. As I mentioned, highlight requirement, low light water needs or low water needs, and outside of that, it is gorgeous, stunning, and probably one of my favorites in my collection. Next, we have Philodendron. So there's so many that I want to put in this category. I'm going to limit myself to 2 or 3 today, but my Philodendron yuppie, I believe is how you pronounce this one. I absolutely love this plant. I know that it's not as rare now as it used to be. Honestly, it doesn't even matter to me because this plant is stunning. I'm trying to let it grow up this trellis, so we will see. It only gets light right now from a Soltec light, but I'm telling you guys, this is such an easy plant. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love the leaf shape. It grows so easy. I probably water this one weekly, I would say. If I forget and I go a little bit over, it is totally fine. It has been perfect in any lighting that I put it in. So, I mean, obviously not direct light, but seems to be low light friendly. Loves my Soltec light. I've had it closer to the window. It loved that. It is just, it's so forgiving. It's so pretty. It's sized up really well. I would say I would give it a trellis or a moss pole or something to climb up just so it can feel a little bit more supported and stable, but absolutely love this plant. My only downside is it's a little bit harder to like place with other plants just because of its like growth structure. It's kind of a little bit all over the place, but she is a gorgeous standalone plant and I absolutely love her. One more honorable mention for Philodendron is my Spirit of Sancti. I love this plant. Now I know when I showed this in my houseplant tour, a lot of you guys didn't even recognize it because it is definitely a little bit wider right now and it doesn't have the long lobes here. However, newest leaf here has a little bit more of the Sancti shape, so it's coming in. She's just a little bit juvenile. This plant is so easy. It grows probably a new leaf every single month, I would say. It's basically the same care as my yuppie eye. It's so easy. It's a little bit closer to the window, but it has been phenomenal and I just can't recommend them enough. Basically every time I water the yuppie eye, I water the Sancti. I miss the new leaves as they come in and I have no issues outside of that. So I was kind of intimidated to get this plant just because it was a little bit expensive at the time that I got it, but it has been so easy. I'm so happy to have it in my collection. Only thing I would probably recommend with this one is getting it on a moss pole just so it can size up a little bit or something so it can climb. I will get to that eventually, but we're just not there right now. That is another day's issue. While we are over in this corner, I will quickly talk about this one as well. So this is my string of dolphins. Actually, string of bananas, I believe. And I will say string of pearls, really difficult. Haven't had a ton of success with that one. String of anything, honestly, I've struggled with outside of the string of bananas and string of dolphins. To me, those two varieties are the ones that are the most forgiving. This thing a couple months ago was quite literally like 4 feet long and I gave it the biggest haircut and I'm just kind of starting over. I also do propagate this a lot, so I'll just literally like chop it here, put them in water and then like add them back to the top of the plant just so it's a little bit more bushy. But I love this plant and it's kind of a nice side plant to have when you're decorating and you're plant styling. So don't be intimidated by string of bananas or string of dolphins. I think they're really, really easy and a little bit slept on. We are almost done, guys, but next on this list is Scindapsus. So this might be a controversial one to add in, but this is my Scindapsus Silver Cloud. No, this is Platinum. Scindapsus Platinum, I believe. Love this plant. Scindapsuses are very vocal in my opinion with when they need water. They start to curl up. I actually have another variety here, which I finally have back in my collection. This is my Scindapsus Moonlight. This plant is just, oh my gosh. I had one and I underwatered it and it just started to look really sickly, but I love this plant. It is so gorgeous. It's like metallic-y, shimmery in the light, and it just looks like it's hand painted. It's gorgeous. But the second that they start to curl up like this, it means it needs water. My biggest thing, the only reason why I would say Scindapsus are kind of tricky is if you let all of the leaves curl up like this and then try to water it, for a while they bounce back. However, I would just say the second that they start to curl, water it, give it a good soak. These don't like to dry out as much as something like a philodendron or maybe a pothos would like to, so they're not as forgiving when it comes to underwatering. So this would be good for someone who maybe doesn't have a ton of light but also likes to care for their plants a little bit more. This guy I probably water every 4 to 5 days. Terracotta probably isn't the best option. That's kind of just my vibe. So does need higher water, is okay in low light. I would just say the second that it starts to kind of curl under, give it a good water and just don't let it go far past that and you will be fine. But they are gorgeous. They're a little bit more unique than like a standard pothos or Philodendron Brazil, and I just love them. And they've got so much texture on their leaves. They're always so shimmery and velvety, and I just love Scindapsus. You just don't want to underwater them. Another one that I wanted to showcase is my Peperomia Hope. I love this plant. I think it's my only one on the list that is actually pet friendly, so it's not toxic. I love this. I ended up potting it in this narrow pot top. If you guys watched my last video, a lot of you recommended that I do not use this pot because it can be a little bit tricky when it comes to trying to get the plant out when you're repotting, which I totally get. So I ended up putting my own plant in it, and I'll figure that out when the time comes. But it looks so cute in here. It's like a little to-go cup with a plant in it. I don't know, it's just like absolutely sending me. And it's so cute. It's so easy. This guy definitely has higher, I would say, watering needs. So he's probably one of the most thirsty outside of my bonsai on this list. He is a little bit more thirsty, but I just touch the leaves that are close to the base here, and when they start to feel like they're not super stiff, I give it a good water. A lot of times with Peperomia, I do bottom water. I kind of switch between bottom watering and then top watering. Terracotta might not be the best option since it's more of a thirsty plant and terracotta dries out really quick, but it's just things like that that you have to know and keep in mind. But love this plant. It's been super good to me, very easy to propagate, and also pet friendly. We have got 2 more on this list. The 9th one that I want to shout out is my Hoya. Well, okay, not even this specific Hoya. This is a Crimson Queen, I believe, and it is just stunning. Like, are you kidding me? Look at all of this color. Look at the pink vines coming in, the white leaves, which, you know, probably not the best long term, but it is so pretty for now. I love her. Hoyas are so good, and I am just like the biggest Hoya head. I really can't help myself. There are like 10 other varieties that I want to add here when it comes to Hoyas, but this one has just been really popping off growth for me. Sorry, it is a little bit too bright here in this lighting, but I love Hoyas. Hoya, you probably have heard, taco test is really good for them, so their leaves should be really stiff when they are well watered. Once they are thirsty, they start to fold up and kind of get paper-like. That means that they need a really good drink, a really good soak. But I probably water my Hoyas like every week and a half, every 2 weeks in the winter, so they are definitely lower on the watering needs, but they do love highlight. So a lot of these guys can take almost direct light, not quite. A lot of Hoyas sun stress beautifully. Hoyas are just wonderful. I feel like they're slept on. They have blooms and they are just fantastic. So I would say if you are the type of plant parent who kind of likes more hands-off plants, something more unique, something with like an interesting leaf shape and just like leaf pattern, Hoya is definitely your guy. They are wonderful, and I just feel like they are not showcased enough when it comes to beginner-friendly plants. So highlight, not too much water. When you do water them, really drench them, and you will be good to go. Last but not least, it's so hard for me to see my jungle buggy and not put her on this list. Just know she is on this list. She's amazing. I freaking love her. One of my favorite plants. But Monstera. Now this one is something that everybody and their mom has heard about when it comes to plants to own as a new plant parent. I just have to have her on this list because look at this new leaf. Like, I'm actually ill. This is fantastic, gorgeous. She's a stunner, she's a star, I love her, and it's filled in the space so much more. This guy does probably get a little bit too much light. You can see the scorching here. It's just, she's so big, I don't really have another spot for her, but these leaves are fine, so we're figuring it out. Monstera, I would say they need bright, indirect light. Don't have it in the sun like I do. They will burn, but they are so easy. I probably water mine every like 2 weeks just because the pot is so big, maybe every week and a half. If you have a smaller Monstera though, I would say weekly watering. You can probably stretch it. They are pretty drought friendly, so if you forget about it for a couple extra days, you'll probably be fine. They do get droopy and sad looking when they are thirsty, so fantastic plants. They can take low lighting, but obviously the more lighting that they have, happier they will grow, more splits they will have, more holes they will have, so fantastic plant. Monsteras are definitely one of the most, I would say, rewarding plants to have just because of the evolution of each leaf. But I wanted to end with her because she is absolutely stunning. Okay guys, that is it for my top 10 favorite beginner-friendly plants. It is tough because a lot of these I wanted to mention, and just realistically I would have made this list like 30 plants long, but kept it to 10. Let me know what you think about the 10. Like I said, I did want to emphasize plants that I don't hear about as much when it comes to common beginner-friendly plants, so let me know what you think of my list. If you have any of these and you agree, you disagree, anything like that, share feedback. I would love to know your top 2 plants that maybe are not as widely heard about, just so everybody else can kind of look through the comments and see. But that is it. I would love to know what you guys would want to see next. I am thinking I might do like a plant tour somewhere in Phoenix just to showcase another plant shop. Those are always fun ones to film, but if there's anything else that you guys can think of that I can throw in here, let's do it and give me some recommendations. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here, and thank you so much. Until next time guys, bye.